Welcome back to Basement Integrity Podcast by Icy Reno.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, of course. Welcome everyone to episode 52. If you remember, our previous episode was all about protecting the foundation before finishing the basement.
Right, which is a huge topic.
Oh, massive. Because, putting up fresh drywall and laying down that luxury vinyl flooring is completely pointless if the concrete shell behind it is compromised.
Exactly. You're just wrapping a rotting box in really expensive gift paper.
Yeah, well said. And it is April right now. The heavy Toronto spring melt is officially upon us.
It's here.
The winter snow is gone, it's turning into runoff, and taking proactive steps right now is really the best defense against water damage. So as part of the Reno team, our mission in this deep dive is to walk you through the ultimate guide on testing a sump pump before the spring floods hit.
Because we see the aftermath of these floods every single year.
Yeah.
Homeowners are caught completely off guard.
Oh, entirely. Because they misunderstand why basements flood so aggressively during this exact window of time.
Right. Like the ground soil around your home right now is acting like a sponge that's been left in a bucket of water overnight. It is just completely saturated from the winter thaw. So when those heavy April showers hit, the new water has absolutely nowhere to absorb.
The earth just can't take in another drop, and when water can't go down, it pushes outward against whatever is in its way.
Which is usually your basement wall.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to hydrostatic pressure. I looked up the Wikipedia definition, and it says it's the pressure exerted by a fluid at equilibrium due to gravity.
Right, which is the academic way to say it. But physically, underground, you just have millions of gallons of water saturating the neighborhood soil. And water is heavy.
It's super heavy.
Yeah. So that sheer mass exerts this immense physical force like thousands of pounds pushing against your foundation. And it actively forces water through tiny cracks in the concrete.
Which means we really need to ensure the home's active defense system, the sump pump, is ready to fight back. I like to frame this testing phase as a fire drill for your basement.
I love that analogy, a proactive strike.
Exactly, before the emergency actually happens. So let's walk through our 4-step DIY diagnostic guide. Step 1 is the power check.
Very simple. Just unplug it and plug it back in.
Right. You just want to hear the motor briefly engage just to know it's alive.
Yeah. And then step 2 is the physical inspection. So grab a flashlight and look directly into the pit.
And what are we looking for there?
You're making sure the basin is totally free of seasonal debris.
Right.
You'd be amazed. Loose gravel, sludge, and airborne lint from your laundry machines.
Oh, wow, lint.
Yeah, the lint mixes with the water and forms this crazy industrial-strength sludge. It clogs the intake screen, and the motor just overheats and dies.
That's wild. Okay, so clean the pit. Step 3 is the water test. We tell people to pour 5 gallons of water right into the basin.
Right, which sounds scary to some people.
Yeah, pouring water into a hole in your floor. But it's a sealed plastic bucket, right?
Exactly, it's totally sealed. So as you pour the water in, the float switch physically rises.
Yeah.
And once it hits a certain height, it triggers the motor.
Got it. But a lot of people just hear the motor kick on and think, okay, I'm safe. But step 4 is the exterior check. You actually have to go outside.
You really do.
Yeah.
You have to locate the discharge pipe.
Because if the water is just pooling right near the foundation wall, what's the point?
Exactly. Hydrostatic pressure will just push it right back into your weeping tiles. Water has to exit freely.
And it has to be pushed far away. Speaking of the mechanics, what does a healthy system actually sound like?
A healthy motor hums smoothly, it doesn't struggle, and a really critical part here is the check valve.
Right, the check valve.
Yeah, it prevents water from flowing backward into the pit once the motor stops. If you hear a massive rush of water splashing back down...
Your valve is broken.
Yeah, and the pump will just run continuously in a circle until it burns out.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into the red flags. How do you know the difference between a system that works and one that's about to fail?
Well, auditory clues are big. Loud, grinding noises. That points to worn-out motor bearings.
And you can't really fix that, right?
No, that requires an immediate replacement. Also, if it's running constantly, you either have a stuck switch or the unit is just undersized for the amount of water.
What about rust? I know that's a visual thing we look for.
Yeah, heavy rust shows long-term water corrosion. The unit will eventually breach, short out, and outright fail.
So wait, looking at our Icy Reno guide, it says anything over 7 years old is at the end of its natural mechanical lifespan. Is 7 years really a hard expiration date for a major piece of equipment? My fridge is 12 years old.
It's totally different. Your fridge is in a climate-controlled kitchen. A sump pump handles a massive volume of freezing, dirty water during these heavy Toronto spring melts.
Mm.
It's constantly fighting gravity.
So it just physically wears out faster?
Yet, 7 years is really the end of their reliable life. Proactive replacement is just so much cheaper than waiting for it to fail and flood your whole basement.
It's basically an insurance policy. But okay, even a brand new pump needs electricity. What happens when a spring thunderstorm knocks out the neighborhood power grid?
That is the ultimate vulnerability, which is why we talk about battery backup systems.
Right, and to be clear, a primary electric unit runs on the home grid and handles the heavy daily volume.
Exactly. But a battery backup unit uses a dedicated marine-grade battery. It activates only when the primary power fails.
So it's an emergency bridge.
Yes, it handles moderate volume just to keep you dry. You do need to replace that battery every 3 to 5 years, though. But honestly, adding professional backwater valves and backup pumps, that guarantees a dry basement even in a total blackout.
That's incredible peace of mind. But let's pivot to a larger question. What if the pump is working perfectly, but the basement floor is still just persistently damp?
Well, from our experience at Icerino, that persistent dampness is a symptom of a much larger structural issue.
Which is super common in older Toronto homes.
Oh, very common. And a simple pump swap won't fix it. The permanent solution there is foundation modernization.
Specifically underpinning, right?
Right. An underpinning company lowers the basement floor, installs a brand new internal weeping tile system, and totally redirects the ground moisture away from the living space.
It intercepts the water before it ever touches your floor.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So, to recap for everyone listening, do not wait for the heavy April showers to test your defenses. Run through these 4 testing steps this weekend to preserve your property value.
It's so important.
It really is. And we encourage you to reach out to our team at Icerino today for a comprehensive foundation inspection.
We know hydrostatic pressure means water will relentlessly seek the path of least resistance into your home. So if you haven't tested your pump or checked your foundation this spring, are you forcing the water away or are you secretly leaving the front door wide open?